Okay. This might have happened to us. Might happen to you out there. We don't know.
You don't know.
Talking about getting blacklisted. Fired from guitar shops.
Fired. Not as an employee.
I didn't
As a customer.
I didn't know this was a thing.
I don't know.
I didn't know this was a thing until I talked to some guys that ran some of the biggest guitar shops in the country.
Right.
From independent all the way to the biggest one that has a 2-letter little acronym that we all know and love. But and I was finally like, wait, there's a list of people that you guys don't sell to, and they're like, oh, 100%. And we passed this list around, and then once we entered the guitar shop game, I was like, there is a list. I didn't know it's like the list to get into the club, but reverse. It's really strange.
Blackballed.
I just didn't know. So like we were like, God, what do you have to do to get banned from your guitar shop? So we kind of came up with the sort of the list of how you get on the list for the list. Just like certain things. But then we were like, well, there's a lot of serious stuff. Let's make it a little fun too.
Yeah.
Let's look at the casino version of it. Maybe. Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, and then we'll have some funny tips there. Well, I mean, I'll just give away. We've officially never banned anybody either. Because
these are the things we maybe make us want to ban you.
No, but this is stuff that I've talked to other heads of some of the big corporate ones that we know and love, and then heads of some of the greatest independent ones too. And I was like, oh, okay, that tracks. That makes sense. We just haven't had that. Maybe we haven't been around long enough.
I was thinking about our list. There's also some exceptions, probably in my mind, of people who've done some of these things that we love.
Yes.
But because we love them, we don't care.
Like, it's kind of like being married.
It is.
It's like
not
you
a.
fall in love with
It's not a fair
it's the
thing.
wrong person. You gotta stay there because that's what you said you do in the eyes of God. Continue. So number one, this one's sort of a funny one. I think this is an in-store thing, not the online stuff or whatever. But I'm tuning every guitar in the acoustic section usually to some weird open tuning just to go try stuff out. No intention of buying. Usually, you say you are, but you're not. But just leaving it that way.
99% of the time.
They never did. The guitar never leaves the showroom.
It's amazing though how quickly they can do it. Because I'll go back and be tuning in the mornings, sometimes I'm like, wow, this guitar's really out of tune. And I get the next one, wow, this is really out of tune. The same way. Damn it. And then I realize it's...
And the worst is to do a 12-string like that too. And it's always...
Luckily, that's rare. It's very rare. But
it's always the dude trying to show it off to his girl. It's like, check this out. This is my one lick I learned in open D. And I'm going to... Just tune it back. It's like, I don't know, it's just...
tune it back.
Or I don't know, or let us know. Or tune it back.
Just tune it back, yeah. Or do one guitar. But I mean, I guess if you...
And tune it back.
And tune it back.
Okay, moving on.
Sort of like rewinding on your VHS tapes. Be kind, please rewind. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, or you get charged that rewind.
God.
You know what that was terrible. Number two is this one is actually a real one that this is the most likely to get you on the ban list from the big corporate.
I was gonna say, I think with the big folks, this
should be number one, but we just thought number one was funnier, so we led with that. It's the repeat returner.
Ooh.
It's if you're a habitual buyer, returner, tester, I'm gonna play it at my gig, see if I like it. That's a no.
And we're talking over and over and over, and you never keep anything. Do you know what I mean? Like
if you're let's say you're with an indie shop and you buy 5 guitars and don't keep any. That's a habitual returner.
But you buy a crazy nice guitar or two that maybe buys you the right to return a couple. You know what I mean? Then we know you're serious at least, and you may keep one. But yeah, when you just constantly never ever keep anything, nothing's ever right.
Well, I mean, and I'm gonna hybrid this one in with I'm gonna put another one with number 2 here, not on our list, but it's that almost lives the repeat returner lives with the pleasurable haggler, the one that just really wants to haggle outrageous numbers too. It's that's just, I mean, haggling's fun. We all like to do it a little bit, but let's just relax here. Hoe down a little bit. Just it's there has to be a profit built in. There's not as much as you think.
That's the thing, is the people that have no idea what a reasonable price is, and then they haggle from a just ridiculous
below cost structure sometimes is their starting point. You can't even begin. It's
those are also the people that say, well, I just wanted to help, I just wanted to give you guys my business. Except you wanted us to lose money on your business? Weird. Always.
Because I've from my favorite shops, before I was even in the guitar shop game at all, before I remember I would get discounts sometimes. And I would just ask, hey, what's the best you can do with this? And they give me a number. I'm like, that seems super fair.
That's me. Yeah,
That's my
I think
version
that's a
of
super
happy.
reasonable.
Once I've developed a rapport, and that's usually after I've bought a few things at standard pricing. Anyway, so like, I mean, that's number 2. Number 3 is a funny one, an in-store one.
The sixth man.
That was a good, because I like how you did that. The 6th man.
Off the bench. It's when you're selling things, or you're really, usually for me, when it gets me, is I'm really talking to someone, I'm really trying to help them. I feel like I'm giving them the best advice I can on like why they should buy a certain thing,
Or why they shouldn't.
or why they shouldn't buy a certain thing. And
Talk
then
people out of buying stuff sometimes.
some dude is like, well, I heard on YouTube or blah blah blah, or I think this, and they come in with a totally different, usually wrong thought process. That's it. I'm not saying it can't be valid or helpful, but it's not helpful to someone who's trying to make a decision. Maybe it'd be different if we were a different, like, big box kind of place and we're trying to get you, but we're not. We're genuinely trying to help.
I mean, I just, the other day, I talked to a person out buying a Classic Vibes choir. Spent 30 minutes on this, or to 45 minutes on this one sale, just to help them into like getting an affinity. It's like, you don't need this one. Like, even though I think Classic Vibe is better, it didn't make sense for his point in his development. I was like, let's save that money. And we're not even selling the amp now. I recommended a different amp that we were not selling at the point. I was like, go get this amp, put that money towards that amp instead. And we're bad business people.
Well, I did the same thing over the weekend, like buying a higher priced used thing. And I was like, yeah, that's not as good as this thing over here that's cheaper.
It also have the 6-man can also come out and be like, hey, I know you're looking at that thing in said guitar shop, but I got this thing in my trunk I'd like to show you.
Oh, God.
Don't do that. That's looking at me like you're probably gone. You're not gonna get booted just then. It's like, we'll remember. And that just, the vibe is over from then on. The party's over. You're not getting bottle service after that in the club room. Moving on. Number 4, now this gets into the really serious stuff.
Yeah, this is a pretty big offense.
Dropping anything in the toilets that are not pure poop.
You mean like a bottle of poopery?
Yes. And not just once, but maybe multiple times. Or like, don't leave the diaper. That's happened is we literally took the toilet off and finally found.
I was gonna say, we're sort of like do-it-yourself kind of guys sometimes, and we could not figure out what was wrong with our toilet. We had snakes in there, the drum thing,
I'm doing the vinegar and the hot water, and
finally we end up with the toilet out in the alleyway, and we're like looking at it with flashlights, and there is a bottle of this little spray stuff after you've made a.
Someone knocked it in there, obviously, after they finished something. Like, I know, as much as it sucks, if you knocked it in there, you got to get it out.
They had to have pushed it in there to hide it.
Yeah, I mean, must have. Like, don't,
because it was wedged in there, like in the curve. It was like, oh my god! Thank God it stayed in the toilet part. It didn't go down in the pipes. But
or if you're gonna change your kids' diapers, like this all connects to this one. Like, let us know if you're leaving the garbage there. Well, no problem. We're okay with that.
Yeah, totally fine.
Because sometimes, like in a guitar shop, like the garbage little bins in the bathrooms don't fill up that quickly. We don't change it every day. We usually do, but it might be every other day. It's just wet.
Which is wakes up full. It's just
It's a small little bin from those shops, from GC to us to the other big boys and to the small boys. It's then there's a poopy diaper.
At least GC, they got the big trash cans with the what they do. They have like that's part of somebody's cleanup detail scheduled. Take out the trash.
And number 5 sort of connects to number 4 pretty well. It's so let's say there's a practice room, and like they're usually smaller rooms. Like we can probably we have like sort of bigger rooms set in our showroom to where you can kind of go. But if you're one of the small ones, don't make it Olympic style farting.
Extreme flatulence.
Extreme flatulence in the practice rooms.
No, yeah.
Because there might be someone's office right next to it, and there might be walls that this is seeping through. See,
of course, if you have a medical condition, fine.
Yeah. Now these silly ones are not notes that I've gotten from any that the habitual returners, the crazy haggler type things. That stuff I've heard from the big boxes to the huge indies.
Yeah.
Like when they get like customers that are just really just soaking up their time and causing their products to be worn down.
That's the two big things, right? Like time sucks, and
there is this list that sort of travels amongst. Like, it's so crazy when I first saw. I was like, oh my god, I know some of those people on the list. It's a real
which
thing.
We didn't really think about that. I think in the early days of.
I was like, oh, these meet cool people want guitars. This is awesome. You spend like
Sometimes
2
you
hours,
do.
3 hours over
Overwhelm you.
emails, phone
But
calls,
yes.
and then it's not someone to actually buy a guitar. They just want to tell you about their guitars and then ask for, can I get that $3,000 guitar for $20? Because that's what I feel is fair. That's another thing. But
I can't myself imagine having enough free time to call multiple shops.
No, you
and
can't.
spend hours
No,
on the
there's no
phone.
chance. I mean, number 6 in the final real one is just being, just plain simple, being mean or rude to any customers in the showroom or any of the staff.
That's probably the only way we would really, truly be like, hell yeah, don't come back here.
There was one person that was banned, like for just being really inappropriate to a female member of the team at one point, and just some inappropriate things. That's like an immediate like lifetime ban. But yeah, if you were drunk, it's maybe an excuse. But he wasn't. It was the middle of the day and just an inappropriate person.
Not that you can't be drunk in the middle of the day, but
That's the golfing crowd. That's different. We're used to that. We got that under control. That's what the chip and green on the roof deck's for. But,
it's real.
they fall sometimes. Well, we're getting ready to renovate the whole thing. Dag nabbit. But I think that about covers it.
That's it.
Just be nice. Be respectful. I think I was on border of being on some of these at some point just because, but the cool thing about it, we did this all sort of in jest and fun.
Oh yeah.
This is like, I mean, we don't really care.
It's probably the only top 6 list you listen to today.
Top 6 because we thought it'd be funny. I was like, I got 5. But let's just have one
That's
more.
the
for
best.
chagrin.
It's the best number.
God, click like and subscribe.
Hit the old bell.
I think thanks again for joining us. It's been fun hanging out. 2023 is already epic.
Gave away a Silver Sky.
We did give away
Fancy limited Silver Sky.
that's on its way to the gentleman in Canada.
It was very nice.
Canadian woman.
And we spoke to him on the old FaceTime.
I think it's departing later today
There you go.
via UPS International. Congratulations, young man, again.
It's cool.
Thanks for joining us. See y'all later.